Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jason and I wanted to talk about the Wolfbox G900 Pro. So this is a new one from Wolfbox. The reason that I'm installing this, and I think that maybe you might have a need for this, is one, for me, I have that rear bumper with that big spare on the back, so I really can't see out of the rear view that well. Two, because it's just gonna give me better vision while I'm backing up. And also while I'm merging on the highway, you don't have to put your car in reverse to be able to see behind you. It will always be showing you what's behind you so you can merge in traffic a little bit easier. And for me, that's really great because my head unit is an aftermarket head unit. The backup camera is aftermarket, and it takes like a minute for that thing to get up. So I don't want to wait a minute every single time, so I can just look up in my rear view mirror and see that I've got the front view and the rear view showing on my actual mirror. And another reason is this is probably one of the best out on the market for actually being able to use as a dash cam. So with this kit, in a second I'll show you, you're gonna have a little kit that goes over your rear view mirror, and that is gonna act like your rear view mirror. You're also gonna have a Hardwire kit, and I'm not exactly sure what's in here. This might be the 12 volt. I am not gonna do the 12 volt. I'm actually gonna do the Hardwire kit, and I will have some additional things that I'll put over here and I will put links to in the description below, because there is some things that I'm gonna use to make this a little bit easier. You can wire it however you'd like, but I just think that this is the easiest way to do it based on my research, so I will also include that as well. All right, so to start off with, we're gonna have this little cover, and then you're gonna have a magnetic open. We've got the actual unit itself. So I'm not going to remove this yet because anytime there are screens, I want to be able to set this down. But I believe, yes, this is the top part. So on this side is going to be the Hardwire. Here, the AV is going to be how you run this actually to your rear of your vehicle. So let's say your rear view mirror is like this, facing the back. You're gonna put this over top of it, and then it's gonna be strapped down on top of it. Got your camera right here. This is gonna be able to swivel and move, so you'll be able to aim it in the right direction. Obviously, there's a little sticker on there, so you'll have to remove that, but I'm not gonna do that until we actually get this installed. Okay, so we have got, looks like this is the 12 volt GPS. Looks like this is gonna be the camera mount, I believe. And in here will be the camera. This is actually how you're going to put it on your rear view mirror. It is nice to have a trim tool in here because we will be needing to move some panels. A lot of people might get scared by these, like removing panels, plastic panels, but I've done this on pretty much all my vehicles and it's not a big issue. All right, so there's multiple ways that I could do this because I do have a rear bumper. I could potentially run this out of the left side of the vehicle and run it out to my rear bumper. I don't really love the positioning of that, so I'm gonna run this one inside. Let's say we're in the driver's seat, so the rear view mirror, it's going to run up and around and down into the fuse, which is just to the left side of your steering wheel. And then it's gonna run to the right and down and out towards the back. And then I'll have on top of the inside of the vehicle, I'm gonna have this sitting inside. It comes with a 128 gigabyte. So depending on whether you're recording 4K or whatever you're recording, that's gonna be able to hold quite a bit on there. If you wanna skip the install and learn a little bit more, I'll put up here when the install is done. So if you just wanna know about the features, you don't have a GX, you don't wanna do the install, you can click up there. So I am grabbing the longer of the two straps, and this is what we're gonna need here. You may need to move it to the bottom rung to get it to get on there tight, and that is what I did. And I went ahead and installed this first so that we can test everything out and then start the wiring. Maybe you're not the kind of person that likes to do the wiring. I do think it's pretty easy, but I'll show you real quick the easiest way to do that. And that's gonna be the 12 volt. So you'll plug it in up here. You can run it back here all the way down, potentially go underneath it and then come out over here, which is fine. That's totally something you can do back here underneath and use it that way. But I'm going to hardwire it, so I'm not going to use this method. But as soon as we cut this on, we should be able to use it that way. So if you don't want to deal with the wiring, this is how you can do it. Have it on. Right now, we're going to take that USB-C that's aiming that way. We're going to run it up along that, down this pillar, and then down below. And I'll show you guys that in a second. Then once we hardwire it in, we're going to run the backup camera down here, through and out and up there. There's really no point to having this, plug in there like that to pull apart, because if something happened and you needed to get this quickly disconnected, you just pull it out of the fuse. So here's what I'm going to do. There's the battery positive and the ACC. The way I'm setting it up is so that it's only going to turn on, the ignition is on. So what we're going to do is strip these, but I'm going to plug this into here and then make it so that these are connected. And then all I have to do at that point is pull the other fuse from the actual 10 amp right here, the SIG. All I have to do is plug that one in there. What I'll do is chop these two, and strip it on either side. I just wanted to show that because every single video talking about the install of this, especially in the GX, just runs through this part and doesn't even really show it. So I wanted to show that for people who needed it. The system draws about 2.5 amps from what I've seen, and my phone charger draws about 2.5 amps. So more than enough amperage here with the 10 amps. All right, so we've put this in here, and all you're gonna need to do is mash that down. On the one I have, you can mash them down in here. Like that. So just crimp it pretty good. There's a metal piece on the inside, and that's what's gonna mash down on it. Now we're gonna do the same on this one. All right, there you go. I switched over to this one because I accidentally pulled too hard on this one and pulled it out and couldn't get back in. But we are in. So we're just going to pull the fuse from the other one and put that in there. Pop these floor mats out. So we'll take this out, and you can see here, this is what yours is going to look like. And you can also go online and find out which fuse does what. So to pull this off, you're going to start off at the top, wedge it in, and then you'll pull it straight back. Basically, when you grab it, you just pull it back like that. Then you're going to have down here, you're going to turn that, and you should pop right off after we move this first, because this is tucked underneath here. So we'll pop this off, then we will start with that, turn it, and then pop this out. So here's where I chose to do the grounding. I loosened that up, and it slid right in there. So that's the grounding. And it's plugged in there. We're gonna test this before we start tugging the wires away, just to make sure everything works. Now that we've tested everything, we're gonna tuck the wires back here, remove this. We're gonna use this tool and pop these two parts out. And then there's a 10mm bolt on either side. We will remove that and then run the wire in between the airbag and whatever's on the other side, and we'll run it down into here. So on the left and the right side, we are gonna pull this out so that when we run it through here, it'll be a little bit cleaner behind, in between there, and then we'll run it down and over. So it is tucked behind that headliner. For whatever reason, it didn't record. I will make sure it records 100% on that side, but all you're really gonna do is take this, lift up a little bit, and push it back. Then in between here, which I'll show you the other side right now, you'll just run it kind of from up here and then through the back of that and down there, and then you'll run it behind there. You'll be able to close it back. It's raining right now and I don't want to expose wires, so I'm not going to open this back up and show you how to do it all over again. It's not that difficult to do. Just get it back behind here. Now you're probably not going to be able to get it like all the way right there, but I think that's fair right there. I think that's a fair place to put it, and it's tucked behind this. So we're still exposed down here. I've just closed everything up because it's raining out. I'm going to put this back on right now. All right, so let's go ahead and start on the passenger side. We're gonna run the backup camera all the way back to the back and up above. So let's go ahead and get started with the backup camera. All right, so just wanted to plug it in and test it. Don't know why it's so reflective on my camera, because I can see it here perfectly fine. But yep, there's the backup camera. But looks like that works. So we've got the split screen there. We've got the front camera. So now we're 100% on the rear camera there. We're gonna unplug this so that we can actually run it to the back, and then we'll just plug it in once we put it up there. So next we're gonna pop these off. It's going to be a 10 or a Phillips. I'm going to use the 10 and get these off, and then we're going to take this trim back and we'll run it down this pillar. There is an airbag in here, so we're going to run it in between. So we'll run it in between and then down through this gap and under this panel. So all we had to do here was just run it down, and all of them popped up. You'll see behind this panel, you have to turn this to get it to come out. Again, we're gonna keep all of this stuff right here so we don't lose it. And we should be able to just pop this out. All right, now we've got access back here. All right, so we popped that off, and we had the 10 here. So fairly easy, pop that off. And this is what it will look like. So now we're gonna have to pull this from the headliner. Yeah, we just pulled it and it popped out pretty easy there. That's the airbag, so we're gonna run it in between that and down. We're gonna try to run it underneath each of these little things because that's a good way to hold it in. Although whatever this is seems to be on the outside of that, so maybe it's not a big issue. So you can either get a wire hanger and go underneath, but you can also just kind of tuck it and then push it over to get it back further, which is what I'm going to do in the back as well. So I'm just going to slide it underneath with the trim tool behind that. It's just going to be a lot cleaner, and this is really easy to get off, and I'm hoping pretty easy to get back on too. Here's the wire. We're going to put it behind this. Just note, it's pretty greasy back here, so get yourself some face wipes or something, hand wipes, and then we'll run it through here. All right, everything's cleanly tucked up there. We're going to go ahead and put this back on and make our way down to the base down here, the floorboard. So personally, I'm gonna leave this off until I get the whole thing installed, but you can go ahead and start putting panels back if you want. But just in case I need more tension or less tension, I'm gonna leave this open underneath there. But before we do that, we need to get this panel off. So all we're gonna do is pop this off. Again, I'm gonna try the trim tool, but if not, you're just gonna get a flat head screwdriver there. Once this is off, we can remove this. There are no clips on this, so you can just easily tuck that in, but we can't do that here because this is held in with clips. Tried with the trim tool, you're definitely gonna need a flat head or something similar to get this off. All right, move these two bolts and this kick panel will come off and we can just easily pop this right out. On an unrelated note, that's kind of wild there. Once I remove this, you can just see straight to the ground down there. We're gonna pop this kick panel off. This should be fairly easy. Maybe we'll go from this side. That should tuck right underneath there, and then we'll run it here. So we've run it all the way through here. We'll tuck it a little cleaner. And then all I did was lift this up and push the wire down with the trim tool. And I'm likely gonna be able to do that the entire way back, all the way to there when we remove this back panel and run it up to the door. All right, so essentially, tuck it under here. I'll have to get back up here to get that tucked in, but from back here, it's really easy. All right, so what I did was I just pulled this off and pulled it up here, and this is the plan so far. We'll do a little bit of more research, but ideally I think I could run it like that. Pierce through here and then run it up. So I'm actually doing some exploring. I hadn't seen anyone else do this in the videos, but there's a hole right there that goes to this grommet, so I might be able to cleanly run it through this grommet. But it looks like right behind kind of where that yellow and red is, that's the entrance to this. So I'm gonna pull this grommet and see if I can get it through there. All right, so I just went with the tool and popped all this out. I can definitely go back behind that and run through here. So let's go ahead and pop this door off. So I went ahead and pop this little plastic piece off there. There's that screw. And then we should be able to start working our way down on this, because I think this and these are the only thing holding this door on, besides the clips. You gotta pull it straight out. I broke a clip on the other side, so. All right, so we're gonna go back to running it through here. Should pull out of here. All right, I'm gonna be real with you guys. That was not it. That was way too difficult. I had to fish it through. And yeah, I would not recommend that. I would say just come out of here and just zip tie it to this and run it through, because getting it through here was very clean, because all I got to do is push this back on. But now I've just spent like 30 minutes fishing this through, and it is not worth it. All right, we've got the back open, so there's a lot of reflection on there, but even though it's upside down and pointed at the ground, it is still working. So I'm going to continue with the install, the tough part, but I just wanted to make sure along the way, and I would recommend doing that. Just check and make sure along the way that everything's still working, so you can work backwards while everything's still open. So basically what we're gonna do here is put this on here, as far back, and then push that together, and it'll look like this. Fold this back on itself, like that. And then you'll take this, put it in here, and you will clamp this down. All right, so I peeled this back a little bit. There's already some tapping in here. So we're gonna go to this red and blue and tap this on here like that. Got 2 wires running out of the backup light. So this is gonna let the system know to go to full screen. So that will go to full screen backup when you reverse, because it will get a 12-volt signal from the reverse lights. Ended up switching over to this blue one because the yellow one didn't seem to actually get through it. So you may find that you need to switch to the blue one from this pack, which is a little bit more narrow. because the yellow one for me just did not work. Even though the forum said to use the yellow one. So try the yellow one first, and if that doesn't work, use the blue one. It's hard to show from that angle, but this is what it's going to be like. So this is where it would be clamped down on that wire. And you've got your other side plugged into the wire. All you're going to do is that clamped one. Those are going to fit in real nice. And it locks into place, and it's hard to pull that apart. All right, so all I did was take these little tiny zip ties like this and just zip tied it all the way up. And then I'm just clipping these in. This clipped back in pretty good, except for one clip down here didn't feel so great, but it's screwed in and hanging here. So we're going to have to get this aimed. This is the one that it came with for the mount. Just got this. I put it on there like that, so it should just be able to mount like this. I didn't do a good job of explaining here, but what I did was take off the old one, and there is another one inside of the kit. That one's gonna be a lot easier, so if you need to pause it and kind of see how I did it, but at that point, all you're gonna do is take the double-sided tape and you're gonna put it on top and just press that down really nicely. But I'm just saying here, the other mount that comes in the kit, not the one attached to it, is probably gonna be better if you wanna mount it like I did. All right, so now we can start putting that back on. Remember that was a 10, put that back on. We'll put this one back on right there, and we'll put that back on, and we're done with that install. All right, so this is after a few days. I've been using this for a while. It's actually really nice because if I want to switch to, let's say over here, all I got to do is run it like that. If I want to switch to the front, I can just touch it like that. I've changed it to renew every like 3 minutes. I think it originally came with 1, but yeah, let's go ahead and go in here. You can do display modes. You can do just front cam, rear cam, split screen. Now, one thing I would say would be really nice. I don't know if I can do it. I haven't found out, but I would like to switch these. I would like my rear to be here. If you can switch those, I'm unaware of it, so maybe there is a possibility, but I would like that if it is not a feature already. Display mode, sound record. I am gonna actually leave that off. I didn't know it was recording my sound this whole time. Loop recording, I just put that to 3 minutes. You can do whatever you want. G sensors on medium. Not really sure what that does. Fatigue reminder, I think that's off. Yeah, off. I don't really need that. Wi-Fi, volume settings, I've just turned it completely off because I don't really need them. I have the screen brightness turned all the way up for the camera. Exposure, I've actually turned that way down because I just don't need it to be that bright. And you can see it's perfectly bright with the exposure turned all the way down. I would recommend formatting the SD card when you first get it, but don't really need to do it after that. Yeah, you've got the front here, and you can control where that's aimed. So when I put it into reverse, it is going to show like that, and you can aim it however you want. I don't want to mess with it too much, but I like where that is now. But yeah, that's basically what it looks like. I'll show you a little bit what it is like driving and kind of see what that looks like.